It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
Okay, here we go. It is the Patrick Johnson Show, and we are here on this first Monday of 2025. Thanks for being with us here as we welcome you in on this Monday. Thanks again for tuning in. Patrick Johnson, Philip the Ref Pilkington is here. We'll be over at Tiebreakers in just a little bit with Inside Pirate Athletics, as it'll be Coach Swartz slated to join us tonight for coverage of ECU athletics, as Pirate basketball taking it on the chin yesterday. Got down 13 early. I say taking it on the chin because it just never felt, even when they were ahead 5, it just felt tenuous at best. And look, a great comeback at second game in the conference where they were down double digits and came back for what that's worth. But as we bring Philip in here, you know, Pilk, I kind of look at this as right now, and there's still a lot of basketball left to be played. I get that. But, boy, it's just Wednesday's really important because, I mean, Temple's really good. Temple scored a lot of points at home against Wichita State Friday night. And then after that, you got Memphis and North Texas. I mean, I'm not feeling the good vibes, you know, as far as no dubs are easy, but I mean, like, you'd really have to pull something off to get a dub against Memphis. I think North Texas here is going to be a lot tougher than people probably realize, especially with the kind of a quasi-quick turnaround coming off the road, coming back into town. Maybe a day to get ready for North Texas, and then you're playing them in that unorthodox style. To me, I don't want to say it's a must-win, but Wednesday is probably the most important game of the season.
Yeah, it can definitely look like that. Now, I was talking to Grady and Darren. They are going to stay out there, actually, after the Memphis games. They will not return home, with that being a Saturday, Tuesday, but then that brings the complications of the fact that you're not, you know, sleeping in your own
you're
beds,
on the road all that
practicing in your
time.
own
Yeah.
arena. Yeah. So it's a little unorthodox.
And
there.
Memphis ain't up the road from Dallas.
No. It's halfway probably between here and Dallas. It's not really close to either one of them. But no, to your point, Patrick, yeah, look, North Texas is a good basketball team. They hung with Memphis last night. And, yeah, look, you've got to win this Wednesday, or like you said, you could very easily start 0-5 in this thing. And, you know, the tough thing, and Coach Swartz kind of mentioned it, where it was like, the tough thing is they're getting beat on the three-point line. You know, this team played with a lot of heart yesterday. They fought back. They've done it twice now where they've been down. And you know, they've always played with heart and character under him. There's a reason he's got like 7 or 8 wins as the head coach of the Pirates when trailing by double digits. But the tough thing is, you know, we looked down yesterday at one time. We were down 23-19, and Igo and I are looking at stat broadcast. They're 6 of 7 from downtown. We're 0 of 6. And in the year 2025, you've just got to be a much better shooting team. Now, we saw some of it late, but then, you know, you get some looks there at the end of the game and neither fall, and that's just, it makes it tough to win games, despite, I think, the team having cohesiveness, despite the team knowing their identity and really playing well together. There's that one thing missing, and that one thing clearly is shooting the basketball. And so if you don't beat Temple, I think you're starting 0-5.
Well, yeah, and that North Texas game is back in Greenville on Tuesday.
Oh, is it?
You had me, yeah.
Okay,
so I think what you're maybe
it's
thinking of is Wichita, Tulsa.
That
after
is it.
that.
Yep. Sorry, we talked about a
which
lot of
I mean,
things yesterday.
that alone is a really difficult stretch. I don't know how great Tulsa is, but I mean, but you're staying out there on the road on that deal. So I mean, I hear exactly what you're saying. I mean, that's and again, Tulsa and Wichita a little closer than Dallas and Memphis, but still. I mean, my point is, I'm guessing just I don't know this. We'll find this out maybe. Are they chartering back after Memphis? My guess is probably not. I don't know. They might, because the Memphis airport is actually, despite FedEx being there, is really hard to get in and out of.
That's a weird airport. Yeah, I personally don't like that airport. I've only flown in and out of it once, but it's whack. And you just hope you don't have the travel issues you had the other day. I mean, nobody's fault, right? They got there in time. The flight was booked, and then there was mechanical issues, and because you had a layover booked, and that's not Jesse's fault or anybody's fault. It's just when you're flying in and out of Raleigh, because it's not a major hub, there's a much better chance of layovers. It caused them to really kind of have a Charlie Foxtrot coming home, and so I don't know, but I would hope they're chartering home from Memphis just solely because of that.
Yeah, well, and I mean, again, you've got to. I know you're playing Saturday afternoon, but I mean, you're getting back. That gives you the extra day of rest before you play North Texas on a Tuesday, which is kind of a unique time. All right, let's hit some cuts from the game yesterday. I mean, you can't shoot 38%. You can't miss 12 free throws. I mean, they got more shots, a lot more shots. They out-rebounded Florida Atlantic. But, you got to do better than 5 of 19 threes. You can't give up as many threes as you gave up. I mean, that open three at the end of the game that pushed it back out, 6, was a backbreaker. I know they had chances, fought back, but I mean, that was just a huge backbreaker. FAU hitting that three late in the game. Let's hear from Coach Swartz's opening statement.
Just disappointed that we weren't able to find a way, whether it's just through the 40 minutes, but also at the end of the game. I thought we obviously fought and were in a position to have a chance to steal it at the end. A lot of respect for Coach Jacobs, the Florida Atlantic program, what they've done over the years, and their players and their coaches right now. Very good ball club, and they came in here hot tonight. They came in here and shot the ball well to start. Obviously, they got up to a big lead. We were able to turn it around. It's an 18-point turnaround. We take a 5-point lead, I believe, in the second half at one point. In the end, we were not able to convert on 3-point attempts, and free throws ends up being the difference, to be quite honest. Anytime you can have 18 more field goal attempts and 25 offensive rebounds, you feel good about where you are. And we were in a possession game. But trying to win games shooting 38% and 52% from the free throw line versus a really good offensive team is difficult. And so, it came down to those last couple plays, and we had a chance to either send it to overtime or maybe fortunate enough to win if one of those threes goes in. But, it was an accumulation effect of, I think we had the ball at the free throw line twice with the chance either to tie or take the lead, and it just didn't happen because we missed free throws, and that's part of the game.
Final possession, which was especially frustrating to me. I understand you get the steal, and you're taking the 3-point attempt. I mean, it was a great play by Woodard to Jay Woodard to just get the steal. And I understand his momentum carried him, and okay, I'm going to shoot great, no problem with that. You get the offensive rebound, and Jan Farrell, should have just gone back up. You don't pass it out because you weren't. I mean, what's the adage? Tie at home, win on the road. And so
I agree with tie at home, win on the road, but also it's just one of those things where regardless of what situation you're only down 2, low block is a higher percentage shot than a wing 3.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, just go back.
Even if it wasn't the road, I'm all for going back up. Play to live another
Go
day.
back up and try to get it into overtime, and then you get it up on the rim at least, and maybe it could be batted around if you miss it or they don't call a foul because they're gonna contest it, and you're maybe gonna be able to get a call out of it. Maybe. At home, I would think you would.
Yeah, I mean, heck, Carolina got one on the road the other day against Notre Dame.
That's a whole other story.
But I'm saying they'll call it. They will call buzzer beater or darn near buzzer beater fouls. Sometimes.
Not all the time. Sometimes. All right, so this is Coach running through that last sequence.
It's so hard, you had no timeouts at that moment. We had talked about what we wanted to do, but you get a steal and you go, and the player's gonna play, man. Like you can't, you're not gonna move chess pieces at that moment. The guys knew what to do. Jay made a decision. Jay got 3 shots in the final 10, 12 seconds of the game, 30, whatever it is. I have to watch the tape and look at the exact clock, but you can't ask for much more than that. So to get looks and drive the ball and kick and get open threes or get to the rim and get to the free throw line. It'd be one thing if we're sitting here saying we didn't get a shot off or we turned it over, but we had shooters and guys getting to the free throw line, guys getting looks with the chance to either win or tie at the rim or late game in terms of offensive rebounding. You got to take that. You got to take that. So I'm definitely not going to sit here and say should have done this, should have done that. That player's going to play. And he attacked, and I'm proud of Jay, what Jay did. I'm very proud of how he played and how he fought down the stretch. Those were big plays.
Let's see here. Coach Schwartz did not start R.J. Felton for the first time since January of 23, so about 2 years ago. What was the rationale behind that?
Well, I think it's more about just the collective, our team, the way we were playing over the last 6 games. And honestly, and I said it pregame and I said it to ESPN before the game, it's to allow RJ just to take a little pressure off himself. It's to allow him just to see the game, maybe the first 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, everyone gets so enamored with starting. You know what? It doesn't matter. It's who's on the court at the end of the game, and it's who's on the court during the game. And RJ's a starter here forever. But this was just to allow him to have a chance to maybe see the game, take a little pressure off, a little bit of the edge off that maybe he has felt for being a targeted guy, which is a great tribute to him, which is something he has earned because of his work and who he is as a player. And you know what? He responded. He responded like a true pro would respond.
And he did with 15 points. We'll see if that continues. I'm not equating things here, but, my sister graduated. When she graduated from Peace, she was the all-time leading scorer. There were a lot of games in her career that she came off the bench. Now, she would come off the bench usually with in a minute. And I never really understood the rationale for that. But she would come off the bench and play. So, that's something that you do sometimes. All right. When asked about the heart that his team plays with, your team should play with heart anyway. But anyway, Coach Schwartz was asked about it.
It's huge. You know what? Because, we've lost some games. And, yeah, that is. Because, you know what? I've been in this long enough to see where it's affected in practice and how guys compete and how you would never know. Is there an anger and a pissed offness, if that's even a way to say it, about this team? Absolutely. And you feel it in practice, and you feel it in that locker room right now. Are they down in there? Absolutely they are. Because they want this for each other, for this university, for this program, for Greenville, for ECU.
All right, let's hear from Coach Schwartz on the way his defense played and tipping the cap to FAU for hitting that key three-pointer late.
This is one of the top pace of play shooting teams in the country. And they got 8 players that are averaging between 8 and 13 points or something like that. They're a hard team to guard. We held them below their average. They made shots. They made some tough shots. This is part of the game. I don't expect to come in here, when you say we pride ourselves on defense, we do. We do pride ourselves on it. We're playing against good teams that can shoot the basketball. They go 10 for 20. What we looked at more than anything going into playing this team was taking away their three-point rate. 23 is a team getting off 20 in today's game. Is you have done a good job keeping them off the three-point line. I give them credit. 5 or 6 of those were on our terms contested. 4 of them, 5 of them, we're going to go look at and say, hey, we got to be better here. But our whole thing is we have been hurt at the three-point line on both ends of the floor right now.
All right, and an update on Julian Samaro and his status.
Julian has stepped away from basketball. He has not stepped away from the team. He is with us. We're there for him, but he stepped away from basketball for personal reasons. So at this point, we don't expect to have him. Not having him, not having Tybo Bailey. He was sick today. That's why you guys didn't see him. Yeah, it makes you a little thin in the backcourt. But I thought RJ and Cam and Trevi, when we put him back there, Trevi got banged up. I got to go find out what happened to him. He got banged up late in the game. I hope he's okay. He's such a big piece of our team, his heart, his effort. But, yeah, we were a little thin today, but that's the deal with Julian and with Tybo today.
And just for clarification, y'all don't expect him back this season unless
At this point, I don't. We're moving forward as right now based on him being, him stepping away from basketball for personal reasons. I don't expect that.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, that was something I was told about before the Gardner-Webb game, that he had some off-the-court issues that he was addressing, but I didn't realize that he was possibly and likely now going to be out for the whole year. So that obviously creates a little bit of an issue with your depth at the point. But, all right, Pilk, let's hit a break. We'll get Jim Szoke on bottom of the hour-ish. Inside Pirate Athletics coming your way tonight from Tiebreakers, so more from Coach Schwartz coming up. But we'll talk the Panthers' big win yesterday when we come back.
We are.
Riding shotgun with you on the drive home.
It's go time.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Okay. So Phillips had a little bounce in his step today, if you want to call it that. The reason is because I just tickled myself with that remark. It's because his Panthers, did they really eliminate Atlanta yesterday, or did the Bucks?
The Bucks won the game.
I know how we're painting it. Which happened first? The Bucks went final before the yeah. So the Panthers really didn't. But the Panthers fans, I'll let you have this, because you hadn't been able to have a whole lot in the last few years. So I'll let you have the fact that you eliminated the Dirty Birds.
Well, Jadeveon Clowney,
I'll let you have it, Pilk.
So. Well, look, at the end of the day, they're on the same playoff drought as Carolina. I hate Atlanta. I don't really hate Tampa Bay. So I was glad that Tampa won the division. Clowney sure as heck thinks we eliminated him. Did you see what he did after the game?
What's that?
He was standing out there waving to the fans, see you in Cabo. See you in Cabo next week.
Well, but I mean, at the time, he probably didn't know. In fairness.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, what the players on the field knew.
Right.
But yeah, Tampa Bay had won, and look already, and even had they not won yet, look, at the end of the day, Atlanta needed that Tampa loss as well as a win. So, credit to Tampa. They were down. They fought back against a bad Saints team they never should have been down to, but they didn't tuck their tail between their legs. And congrats on Mike Evans and his $3 million bonus and getting 1,000 yards. So, hey, look, I'm just glad that this team won 2 of their last 3. Bryce goes out with another big win, probably the best performance of his career. This is something he can build on in the offseason. That's more of what I was proud of, is his performance. Considering we won, I wish New Orleans would have won, so we wouldn't have jumped up and finished 3rd in the standings.
Right.
Like we said, we don't know what next year brings teams, but I will bet that Dallas will be better than New York, just because I think the Giants are going to stink. They'll be on a rookie quarterback probably. So,
right.
Moving up, finishing 3rd is a little tough, but it is what it is. They did mess themselves out of 2 draft picks, which is not too bad. They could have drafted 6th had they lost. They end up drafting 8th now. So, a few hidden nuggets in there that maybe aren't as good, but at the end of the day, this team's young and they need to learn how to win, and they won in dramatic fashion, and now still every single one of Bryce Young's career wins has also been a win with a touchdown drive or field goal drive in the 4th quarter and or overtime, because he has not led wire to wire in the 4th quarter yet.
No. This was Bryce Young saying that the guys played hard after the game.
Everyone understood, we were playing for ourselves. Coach talked about finish all week. This was such a great opportunity for us, just as a team to finish, to go in and just prove what we can do.
Is this you're the Panthers fan. I've been dubious of Bryce Young. Have they found their quarterback?
He's only played, 29 games or something? So I think to an extent you have to cautiously, with anybody who's only played 29 games, say it's still to be determined. You think they've found their quarterback. You think he can now play at NFL level, which was better than what we were saying in October. But how do you really know? I mean, there's been guys who've probably looked really bad their first 29 games. Sam Darnold, who just took his team to a 14-win season. Steve Young won 3 of his first 19 starts. Jim Plunkett was terrible with the Patriots, and he goes on to win a Super Bowl with the Raiders. So, I know that's the flip side of things, but the point is, how do you know until you know? And you can't know until a guy's been in the league for 4 or 5 years to say, hey, can he have a 12, 13, 15-year career in this league? So I don't know. I mean, look, I would have said through 29 games that Trevor Lawrence looked pretty damn good, and now I've got questions about him. So,
Right.
I think he's definitely earned the right to play out the rest of his rookie contract over the next 2 seasons and see what he can do. And, glad that Dave Canales will still be the head coach next year. If for some reason they fire him, I will, get my sign and protest outside David Tepper's house because there's no reason that he should be fired. But, hey, he likes to fire coaches.
I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to stick with Canales into next year. I mean, they seem right now to have a plan. And now, whether they happened into it, whether that was the real plan all along, I'm anxious to talk. We're going to talk to Szoke next segment about some of this, but I'm anxious to find out from Jim about his thoughts on, did that break really? Is that the thing that was the fulcrum point for Bryce Young in his season and career? All right, let's throw it to Pilk. 94-3 the game. Sports Flash update, 2-minute drill, and Pirate report for you. And we, of course, have Inside Pirate Athletics coming up at the top of the hour from Tiebreakers. I'll be headed over there. But Jim Szoke on the other side of the break, which follows the ref, Philip Pilkington.
We have you covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
NFL season is over with. We got the mega wild card, whatever the hell they're calling it. We'll talk about that and more with Jim Szoke, who joins us here. Panthers Radio Network. You'll hear him on our sister station, 103.7 WTIB at 7 o'clock tonight on Talk 103.7 with Panther Talk. Of course, Jim also with the ECU Sports Network. Hello, Jim. Happy New Year.
Happy Monday. Happy New Year. It's like the most Monday of the year, the first one of the new year after all the holidays.
Well, we'll get into the Panthers. Yesterday, you had the plum assignment of the Mayo Bowl, since it was right there in your backyard also in Charlotte. And I understand, now this is just what I was told, that you were the official Mayo sampler. In other words, before it was dumped onto PJ Fleck, you got to stick your finger in it and taste test it. Is this true? This is what I heard from my sources out there.
Yeah, your sources, as usual, are not reliable. Did not. Although they did give away plenty of free samples. So I'm not opposed to mayonnaise. Like I don't ever reach for it as like a sandwich condiment, but I'll eat chicken salad, potato salads, and things that have mayonnaise in it. I'm more of a mustard guy as far as that goes. By the way, Duke's also makes mustard, by the way. But my wife is that's all she'll allow in the house. She's from the South, and all she'll allow is Duke's mayo. She will not do the other brands. I won't name them. But Duke's is the only one she has. So I did get her a T-shirt and a hat and a jar of the official Duke's mayo from the bowl game mayo there. But I would take what you said, though. I would take a spoonful or whatever, a finger of that, as opposed to what happened to Coach Fleck of Minnesota in that bath. I mean, I can barely watch the video. There was something also earlier. They had people bobbing in mayo, like bobbing their heads into mayo. All of that.
Well, Jim Szoke has sufficiently caused me to lose my appetite here this evening, so that's good. Thank you, Jim.
There goes dinner. Yep, you're welcome.
Flavor Flav was in the house.
I don't think they've done a celebrity before, but I think he was wearing the Tubby costume, which is the mayonnaise, the jar of mayonnaise thing, and then the big reveal that he was the celebrity pourer, dunker of the mayonnaise on Coach Fleck with another helper. And so that must be the new thing, is they're going to have a celebrity every year do it. So, maybe you or Pilk next year could be the next one to be the celebrities.
Yeah.
But I think I didn't see that coming. We were kind of speculating during the fourth quarter who it might be. You probably heard of the Savannah Bananas baseball team. They're coming to Charlotte this year. So we thought, okay, that's another Charlotte Foundation event that's going to be taking place later this year. Now I should say 2025. So we thought, well, maybe bananas, mayonnaise, something with that. But no, it was Flava Flav. Flava Flav.
There you go. Makes sense. Was it Elvis that ate peanut butter and nanner sandwiches, or mayo and?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
not
no,
mayo
I think peanut butter and nana might have mayo on it as part of that. Maybe it just doesn't have the name in it, but I think you're right.
That's
on
that's
white
right.
bread. On white bread. Yeah.
On white bread, exactly. All right. Got Szoke here with us. Panthers win in overtime yesterday against the Falcons. We can claim that eliminated the Falcons from the postseason, right? Because, I mean, Tampa won, so that was the other part of that equation. But it's still 5-12. Has it ever felt so good, Jim?
I said on the air today, I think it might be the best 5-12 in NFL history. Of course, 17 games only goes back a few years, but 5-12 doesn't sound good, except if you were 2-15 before, and in the second half of your 5-12, you've got a young quarterback playing really well. I mean, honestly, playing really well, not just like playing better, but playing well. And you can see some other pieces that are there, and then knowing you're going to get Derek Brown back on defense next year to help with the most problematic thing, which is stopping the run, and the 8th pick in the draft, and all the other things they're armed with in the offseason. So it's a promising 5-12. So I think everyone feels good about the first year of what Coach Dave Canales did, especially the second half of the year once Bryce came back into the starting role.
Jim Szoke with us here from the Panthers Radio Network. Dave Canales, year one. What kind of grade would you give him? Give us maybe some insight into his temperament. It seemed like he kind of turned things loose a little more yesterday than he had. Wasn't as careful as he has been. I don't know, will we call him Riverboat Dave? I don't know. But, just give me your grade on him and some insight into him, Mr. Szoke, here on the in year one.
Well, he came in with the reputation as being the quarterback whisperer and helped with Baker Mayfield, helped with Geno Smith and some others through the past years. And you saw great improvement in Bryce Young as the season wore on. So he certainly starting with that, and that was the number one reason they brought him in, was to get their quarterback right. I think mission accomplished, check that box for sure. And then, other things, like they addressed the offensive line this past off season, bringing in 2 guards in free agency, which helped Chuba Hubbard, I think, become the running back that he became this year. And then some other discoveries along the way, like Jalen Coker, undrafted rookie free agent, who's looks like a number one draft pick, even though he wasn't drafted. And he's a big part of, I think, what's going to be moving forward as far as the passing game on offense goes. And so I think that's all good. I think they really addressed offense. Jonathan Brooks, unfortunately, got hurt, their second-round pick, the running back, after that long recovery. We haven't seen much of Jatavian Sanders, the tight end, but he shows some promise. So I think some of these guys like Xavier Legette will be better as well in year two. So I think that's still cooking right now. And then they know they got to address the defense this offseason. But as far as year one goes, I think they did as much as they could accomplish in a year as far as addressing the roster in one offseason. And, again, won 3 more games than the year before. That's a good start. So it's a good launching point, I think, for them.
Jim Szoke with us here. Bryce, 251, 5 touchdowns he was responsible for yesterday. And there was the great highlight of him unleashing the pass for the end zone, I think, on one of Sanders' catches. And even turning around and throwing not even watch the pass go in. It's the antithesis of what we saw at those NBA highlights where the guy would shoot the 3 and go ahead and turn down, and then he missed the shot. Bryce threw it and knew it was going, and he already turned around to celebrate. I thought that was a cool shot. But did that period of time where he was benched really make that big a difference?
I think it's a combination of both things. I mean, there's the benching part, and then there's the learning part that went with that. So I think it's a matter of, they threw him out going back to 2023, day one as a rookie quarterback, and it just seemed like that wasn't the right thing to do at that time with that coaching staff, because you had Andy Dalton, and we saw that Andy could be solid, and then when he got chances to play, he was much often better than he wasn't good on the field. So Andy Dalton can play. I think it probably would have been a better way of introducing him into the NFL to let Andy start the season the first year and then bring Bryce in. But he didn't get that opportunity. He basically started every game except one early in the year where he was injured and played 16 of the 17 games, and it didn't go well. You bring in the new coach, so it's another new system, all this relearning. He comes out the first 2 games, and it looked like 2023 all over again. So I think he just needed a chance to just kind of sit, study, learn, take the pressure off, and just give him a chance to just absorb the NFL offense. And when he came back, I think, we saw a different quarterback, almost like week by week. You saw this progression. So I think it did help him a lot just to kind of sit and do that. But I mean, that's what you should do with a young quarterback. They shouldn't play right away. Yeah, there's guys like Cam Newton and some others who come in right away and had big games right off the bat and played well, but not always, and in most cases not. And I think in his case, it was probably just too much too soon.
You know, it's interesting.
I know
that you
Pilk,
bring.
hang on, Pilk. I know Pilk wants to get in here, but I got two more things I want to get to here really quick, Pilk. But go ahead and ask your question, Pilk.
Well, the reason I was going to butt in because this is kind of a follow up to the last point here, Jim. And obviously, all situations are created different, but when you look at this, you know, Montana set off the jump. So did Favre, Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes. I know you can't say one size fits all here. Peyton started his rookie year, but I mean, are we to the point now that the game is so complex that it's almost doing a disservice to the young man if you start him as a rookie?
Yeah, and I would caution those who are about to draft quarterbacks high in this draft to be careful with that same thing too. So whether it's a couple weeks or half a season or whatever the case may be, there's nothing wrong with erring on that side of giving more time, especially because, as we all now know, preseason games, not much happens. And even if they are playing to some degree a rookie quarterback in the preseason, it's not the same speed. You're not playing the same competition as regular season. So you can only gain so much in practice settings and exhibition game settings. So I think it's just wise to not maybe put all that out there for week one for a quarterback. And last year C.J. Stroud played really well. I think pretty much out of the gate last year, but this year wasn't nearly as good as he was last year. It's still good, but not spectacular. And I just feel like it's just why not, if you're investing in a quarterback, give him the best chance to succeed by giving it a little bit more time to cook and learn, and then put him out there when the time is right.
So, Jim, yesterday we mentioned Sanders, maybe a nice send-off for him, nice send-off for Jadeveon Clowney as well yesterday.
No, these guys are, part of the future too. I mean, Clowney's got a 2-year deal, and Miles Sanders. Oh, yeah. So I think he'll be back. And Miles Sanders has a 4-year contract that he's 2 years into. So, he kind of showed that he can still play a little bit too. And we talk about don't have Jonathan Brooks. It'd be nice to not go get that second running back out there too. So, again, these are just good pieces. I think with Clowney, obviously he's getting towards the end of his career, but just as a rotational guy, I think probably honestly one of their biggest needs, the top two needs, would be another edge rusher to go with him and DJ Wanham, and that would also lessen the reps for somebody like Jadeveon Clowney. So I think
he was really good yesterday. He was real. I thought really great yesterday. He just looked like he could barely move at times.
Well, again, he's longer into his career and has been off and on healthy this year. So he was not, he's not 100%. He's playing because the roster's so depleted with other injuries. I think they kind of needed him out there for this being the last game and so forth. But he's been vocal about wanting to stick around and be a part of it again next year too, which is good. I think he built a house here, so I think he's planning on making this home. Of course, he's from Rock Hill, so this is home for him.
Gotcha. Pilk, what you got for Szoke before we get into some other stuff with him?
So Szoke, look, I was thrilled with the win yesterday. It's hard to pull against the team in the heat of the moment, but I have to say when it was over, I wonder if you shared in any of my disappointment, and I looked at the division standings and realized we had passed New Orleans. And now next year, you're happy you're going to Lambeau, I'm sure, as opposed to Chicago. Chicago's a disgusting, dirty city, and Lambeau's great. But we're going to Lambeau instead of Chicago.
News and comment from Philip the Ref Pilkington. Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
All right.
And now we're hosting Dallas, who's going to be much better than they were this year, than hosting the Giants, who are going to be terrible again. Was there a little bit of with you guys on the post game show and everybody hanging out there? Was it kind of like a little bit of a this stinks kind of thing? Because now, like I said, the schedule just got a lot tougher next year due to that win. But I do think it was good for Bryce.
No, I think they need wins and positivity. So teams change year by year as far as projecting what next season looks like for any team. I mean, Dallas didn't have the kind of season they were expected to have, and the Giants were a lot worse than we thought they would be. The other thing about Chicago is, I don't mind Chicago, by the way, is that we've gone through the last 2 years in a row, so it'll be 3 consecutive years of going to Chicago. So you're right, going to Lambeau and Green Bay, and they've done a lot of kind of other structures and adding on to Lambeau Field as far as all this eating and restaurants and tailgating area and all that. It's really cool there. So it's always a good trip. But it's hard to project teams year by year because you never know. Once you get into the season, it completely can change for a lot of these teams. And Dallas has been a consistent regular season winner the last couple of years, and then this year they fell off. So just as one example, you never know. And we'll see what the Giants have next year. But obviously, different quarterback situation for them. I saw they're keeping their coach, Brian Daboll, they mentioned today. So there'll be some other roster changes, obviously, moving forward to make them, hopefully, in their case, for themselves better.
Yeah, just with that being said, like I said, you don't know exactly what teams are going to do. But is there a place, now that we know the opponents for sure next year, that you're looking forward to going to? Just more of a hopefully you can get in a day early kind of place. Maybe is there a certain week you're hoping ECU has a Thursday night game and you can experience the whole weekend on any of these road trips, or have you even looked at the opponents for next year?
I looked at them. Like you said, we don't know the dates for anything yet. But one thing I know is it'll be the most hardship possibility of whatever the ECU schedule is with the NFL schedule. It'll be something like a Thursday night at ECU and then Munich. So it's never easy. I like going to Arizona. We play the Cardinals, I think, on the road this year because we don't get to go there a lot, and it's not a part of the country that we would probably make like a vacation trip to. But it's kind of a cool, different area to go. And Phoenix is a great town that I otherwise probably wouldn't go visit. So I enjoy that because of that aspect of it. That is just a unique place in the country to go that we don't see a whole lot. We've had 30 years of Panthers football, so certainly I've had a number of trips out there. I played golf out there, honestly, a couple times. But I think Phoenix is fun. It's a cool stadium, too.
Yeah, I'll let it go back to Patrick, but just it won't be Munich this year. We're playing at Jacksonville, so that means we'll be in London this year because, all their home games are played in London. So that's where you have to go this year.
The truth comes out too, Pilk, about this trip to Phoenix. Jim wants to play golf, so that's the truth.
I can hook him up. My uncle lives out there. I can hook you up.
I'm not surprised.
It's getting better and better.
Pilkington has wealthy families scattered throughout all of the posh places in the country, Jim. Just so you know,
rich uncles are a great thing to have just for your future.
Yes,
they are.
Yes, I need one. All right, let me ask you this. We got the Super Wild Card Weekend, Jim. I want you to give me the winners, in your opinion.
For Pete's sake, Patrick. All right.
Come on, Jim.
You're lucky I'm in front of my computer, so I didn't memorize these.
No, I'm going to read them off, Jim. I'm going to read them off.
Read them, okay.
Yes, it's the beauty of radio. Come on.
All right.
Saturday, January 11th. Jim said, for Pete's sake. Saturday, January 11th. The 4:30 game on CBS, the Chargers at the Texans. Who you got?
That's at the Chargers, though, right? Or is it at the Texans? I think it's in LA.
It's LA. Houston. It's LA at Houston.
Yeah, Houston won the South.
Yeah.
That's right. They're the 4 seed and the Chargers. It's the way that's listed on this ESPN thing. They have the Chargers on the bottom, which gives the appearance that the Chargers are. But you're right. The Texans are 4 and the Chargers are the 5. To me, I think the Chargers have been really playing better football down the stretch run here, and they could put up a lot of points. And I thought Houston's been, again, good but not great this year. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna start with the Chargers so they get a road win there.
All right, I'm going with you. I'm going with the Chargers on that one early in the week. That night on Prime Video, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Give me Baltimore all day in that one. What do you say, Jim?
No, I think Baltimore is really, really good. I mean, Lamar Jackson's playing. Watching him play, I mean, it's just like he's always been good. He's a 2-time MVP, but it's like he is just at the top of his game. If a 2-time MVP could be even higher up right now. And Pittsburgh also has not been playing their best football down the stretch here. So I do like Baltimore, and it doesn't matter if they're home or away because the Ravens also had that history of losing playoff games with Lamar for a while. But I think that they got the kind of team that could go all the way to the Super Bowl this year.
All right, Sunday in the AFC, it is a 1 o'clock kick in Buffalo on CBS. Denver at Buffalo. Igo's excited that the Broncos are back in the playoffs, but this is Buffalo's game. What say you, Jim Szoke?
Now, Buffalo, this is, again, at least they're going to at least win a playoff game. I know they have bigger aspirations than that for themselves. But home, Buffalo playing a Denver team that had lost 2 in a row before they beat the Chiefs junior varsity squad yesterday. Fun seeing the Chiefs lose 38-0 just to see that on a piece of paper yesterday. But other than that, I would think Buffalo's got to be a heavy favorite, I would think, in that one.
All right, at 4:30 on Fox, and it's Green Bay at Philly. This is kind of intriguing to me in a way. This might be the most intriguing game of the weekend.
Yeah, no doubt Packers can score points, and Jordan Love, I think, is that next, he's not to the level, obviously, of Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, but he's been really good. But the Eagles are really, just like they don't have a weakness on their team.
Right.
They come in rested, obviously, with Saquon Barkley and all that. I assume Jalen Hurts will be ready to play and be completely ready for this game health-wise, too. So as long as they got Jalen Hurts and we got everybody else in place, that's a pretty complete Eagles team. I have a really good, I think, top 10 defense. We just saw them about a month ago, obviously. So I would think Philadelphia to win that one at home.
Sunday night is Washington at Tampa Bay on NBC. What you got, Jim?
I'm going upset there. I'm going to go Commanders. I like Daniels, the way he's playing. I watched the Bucs struggle for most of that game against New Orleans yesterday as they were going simultaneous with the Panthers game yesterday. So obviously the Bucs, when everything's clicking, can be a very explosive team. But there's some magic with Daniels this year in Washington, and they're young and hungry. I kind of like what Washington's rolling with. I think they're the underdog. I'll take the Commanders.
All right, and then Minnesota at the Rams for Monday Night Football, a week from tonight in the NFC on ESPN and ABC. Who do you got and why, Jim Szoke?
I think the Vikings ran into a buzzsaw with the Lions. I mean, both teams were 14-2 going in, but they just didn't have things clicking last night. Obviously, the pressure that they were able to put on Sam Darnold made a long night for him trying to throw the ball. They'll fix that stuff this week. They'll beat the Rams. The Rams are good and back in the playoffs, but they're not great. The Vikings have been a real special team all season and played at a really high level. Obviously, we got Jefferson and those guys too. So I'll take Sam and the Vikings to win that one.
All right, Jim. Good stuff. Thanks a lot. We'll check in with you here. Maybe next Monday, maybe a couple Mondays. We'll check in with you though. We'll be in touch.
Well, you got my phone. You got the phone number if you need it.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Great stuff.
Thank you.
And now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
Hey, Bill, I'm looking at the total payrolls of NFL teams this year. Cleveland had the highest, $246.4 million. Atlanta, $246.2. Bengals, $238.7. What do those three teams have in common, Phil?
They are booking trips to Cancun right now.
Yep, gone fishing. Ravens are 4th, Chiefs 5th, Colts, who didn't make the playoffs, 6th, Bears didn't make it, they're 7th, Niners didn't make it, they're 8th, Giants didn't make it, they're 9th, Jags didn't make it at 217.9, Rams, Steelers did, Seahawks did not, Texans did. So the vast majority of the teams that spent money, it's like NIL. You can spend all the money you want. It kind of comes down to coaching and playing in a lot of ways, does it not?
It does. You know, the interesting thing, the Jaguars are high on that list. Before the season, their owner said, it's the best roster we've ever had, 30 years of the franchise. There's a reason he relieved Doug Peterson of his duties earlier this morning.
Can I make it over to tiebreakers? I guess I can. We're going to find out. All right, headed over to the tiebreakers for Inside Pirate Athletics coming up right after this. We'll have it for you at the top of the hour here on 94.3 The Game. Back tomorrow for the PJ Show and in the morning on Talk of the Town. Thanks to Jim Szoke. And stay tuned. Inside Pirate Athletics from Tiebreakers straight ahead.